Right. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We're delighted to see so many of you here today. My name's Alison. I'm from 1U Lincolnshire. We are the team that are leading on the delivery of Gloji Energy. We have muted your microphones and we have turned off your cameras, but I'm not sure that's completely worked. Please do, though, use the chat function throughout the webinar and use the Q&A function if you have some questions or queries. If we don't know the answer, we will absolutely get back to you. At the end of the webinar, we're going to send you an email with all the information that we spoke about today, so you all know how to make a referral and what Gloji Energy is. And please do share that with your colleagues and other team members. Very briefly, if we could just, oh, good afternoon, Joanne. Thank you for dropping into the chat. Just going to whiz round and introduce some of our speakers for this afternoon. Andy, would you introduce yourself and explain a little bit about your role, please?
Certainly. Hi all, I'm Andy Fox. I'm a consultant in public health and one of the assistant directors of public health, and I'm leading for the County Council on sort of the health improvement space. And for a while I've been looking at ways to really further the work we're doing around healthy weight, especially with children and young people. So our team have led the work to kind of with Thrive Tribe and 1U Lincolnshire to get this project up and running. So really pleased to see everybody on the call today.
Thank you. Helena, would you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, so hello everyone, my name's Helena Palin and my role at 1U Lincolnshire is to sort of lead the weight management programmes that we offer, so both with our adult services and with our child services. So yeah, I'll pass on now to Chloe to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, I'm Chloe. So I'm the Child Weight Management Lead at 1U Lincolnshire. So my role is to oversee the Gloji Energy programme and support my practitioners, Georgina and Kieran, who will be delivering the programme to our families. And I will pass over to Kerry.
Hello everyone, my name's Kerry Holmes. I'm the Healthy Family Support Officer, and when referrals come through, they'll come through to me and then I'll contact the family by phone.
And Christine, if you could introduce yourself briefly, please.
Hello, my name is Christine and I'm the Engagement and Partnership Officer. My role is to help generate referrals into Gloji Energy by building relationships with healthcare professionals, schools and families. And I'm available to meet face to face and discuss the pathway of Gloji Energy in more details and discuss the initial steps and how we can help support.
Brilliant. Thank you. So without any further ado, I'd like to hand over to Andy, who's going to share some slides about the local picture in Lincolnshire, the need for the project.
Thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate it. And I'm just going to try and talk you through in just 5 minutes why this is an important project and why we need a service like this in Lincolnshire. And I don't want to blind you with science, but I do want to show you some charts. I've got 4 key charts I'm going to talk you through quickly, which hopefully will set some of the scene for you. And one of the charts, this is my I do a bit of teaching on some of these subjects in different settings, and a couple of them I use for teaching aids. One of them because it's the most one of the most terrifying charts in the world of public health, and the other because it's one of my favourite images for bamboozling medical students. So you can wait and try and work out which ones those are. I'm going to start with this on my screen at the moment, and if you can see, I won't actually start the presentation on the PowerPoint there because I'll probably take over my screen. But if you can see there's some lines, and there's obese or overweight, obese and severely obese. This is national information from one of the COVID years recently. This was the National Child Measurement Programme's best guess in the 2021 year about what was happening to obesity during COVID. And as you can see, what we've got here is a nice straight line, which then suddenly shoots upwards around 1920 and 22. Now, that was their estimate of, from the National Child Measurement Programme, what the national picture amongst children in terms of healthy weight, obese, overweight and severely obese was. And you can see, basically, it was bad before. Suddenly, you hit the pandemic, it gets far far worse. Now, I think recent data suggests this increase may not be quite so pronounced, but it's still clearly there. And that should give us all pause for thought, because things have got worse in the pandemic. And in all honesty, with the cost of living crisis unfolding in front of us, these things tend to get worse as more and more people tend to struggle with finance and time, etc. And I'll talk very briefly about that at the end. So clearly there's a national problem, but what about Lincolnshire? Well, let's have a look at local data from the most recent run. This is more recent data of the National Child Measurement Programme, not published yet, so officially. So this is just indicative figures yet to go through the national publication process, but it's a useful guide. What you can see there, and I'll especially suggest the top red line is one you're interested in. Don't worry about the data, don't worry about the figures. Basically, it's been going up for years. So this is the obesity trend in year 6. It is still increasing. It was a problem in 2017-18. It was a problem when I first started working in this area 10 years before that. It's only been getting worse every year. Which suggests there's more need for a programme like this now than there ever has been before. And that indeed is where we are. And at this point, people say to me quite often, well, what's the point then? Because nothing works. And that's very much not the case. The case is not that nothing works. The case is that everything works. Almost everything you can try will work for somebody somewhere. How do you maximise that benefit across the whole population of Lincolnshire's children? That's the challenge that we want to face and that we want to address and that we want to succeed in. So on to my third chart then. This underlines some of the challenge. It also underlines some of the opportunity. And this is my most terrifying chart in health and social care. Very quickly, because you're going to look at this and think, how am I supposed to understand that? Well, what we have here is a bunch of different lines on a chart. If the line goes up, things are bad. If the line goes down, things are good. That's my data interpretation class for you here. And what you can see, this is, if you're interested, this is year 6 boys. Some analysis done some while back by Public Health England as they were then. And what they've done is they split the population into 5 different groups. And that's the sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines you can see from left to right. And the ones on the far left, those are the children that have the least resource, the most deprived, as we might call them, those whose parents have the least disposable income, the least money, and on the right, those who have the most. And what we can see in year 6 boys is for those that have the least, for those that are the most deprived, obesity has been going up sharply. But for those who have the most, who are the least deprived and the most affluent, it has actually been decreasing. So a clear downward trend. This suggests that actually, childhood obesity isn't an intangible problem. There is evidence here that proves you can address it. Because those who have more can actually change their lifestyle and do something that addresses this. However, what can we know for sure is that through the last 10 or 15 years, the inequalities have been exacerbating sharply. So the gap here is getting wider and wider all the time and doing so sharply. That should give us pause as well. Everything we need to do through programs like this need to be addressed at helping those that need the most help, making sure we're helping those people whose obesity is going up. But we can take confidence from the lines that are going down to know that at a population level, these things can be addressed. You just need to look at those factors which cause barriers for whole groups of people at a time to engage in healthy activities and healthy diet and nutrition. My final one, this is my favorite map of all. I tend to throw this one up on the screen when I want to bamboozle medical students. I say, don't worry, there is one simple picture which will explain all the causes of obesity. And this is a famous chart, if you've seen this before. It's from the Foresight report in 2007. And I always joke, so I'm going to show you a picture. I want you to copy it down and I want you to memorize it. And then I put this up and their faces will drop. The whole point of this is it looks like a plate of spaghetti dropped from the 3rd floor of a building. It is utterly the best depiction of complexity in a system that I've ever seen. So my point here is very, very simple. The causes of obesity are multifactorial and complex. You don't get to fix things by addressing one simple factor. But bearing in mind the previous chart that we've seen that across the population, if people tend to have less barriers to uptaking healthy activities, they tend to do it. So what do you do then? And very simply, the conclusion that we've come to is you need to win people's hearts and minds, children and families. You need to do something that is fun and engaging, that is has no barriers to entry, so people won't be charged for, that is convenient, that is local, that will engage children, give them some fun, give them some activity, that will engage their families, give them some assistance that they need to remove some of those barriers so they can act in the way that these people up here whose obesity is decreasing. And what will we do if we do all of that? We will have made a material difference to the health and outcomes of a generation of people in Lincolnshire, and we will have helped shape the national evidence base and build a consensus for how to actually address these issues in a population and how to help the most people. This is my absolute top public health priority for Lincolnshire: getting kids happy, getting kids active, getting kids healthy, and it's only going to become more important as we move through all the challenges of the next year or so. So there you go. That's why we need this service. That's quite enough from me. I will stop showing my screen and shut up. Thank you.
Thank you ever so much, Andy. Yeah, it really does show kind of how important this, you know, the need for a service like this is. So hopefully I'm just going to bring up some slides on the screen. It's just loading. Fingers crossed that's now coming through. And yeah, we're going to now have a little look at kind of who Gloji Energy actually is for. So Lincolnshire County Council have very kindly funded a 2-year pilot programme for us to support children and families across Lincolnshire. So in the first year, we're going to be hopefully supporting 300 eligible children. So for a child to be sort of eligible to receive our sort of support, they would need to be aged 4 to 12 years and also be measured on the 91st centile or above. If you're not kind of overly familiar with child centiles, then the NHS website is a good place to look. It gives some information about it, and it also has a BMI centile checker. So as long as you know the child's sort of gender, their date of birth, their height, their weight, and the date that that measurement was taken, you'll be able to pop in that information to be able to calculate what their centile is. From that, obviously, you'll then be able to see whether they would be sort of eligible to have a referral made, and then we can hopefully work with them. We have got the link to that at the bottom of the slides, which we will be sending out, and we'll also make sure it's included in the email, so it's really easy for people to access. You will see that if a child is measured on the slightly higher end of the centile scales, we will look to review kind of them on an individual basis, just to make sure that we are the right service that can support them. And if we feel that there's a service that could support them better, we would onwardly refer them to that to make sure that they get the right support for them. It's also important that the family have some kind of connection to Lincolnshire. So they must kind of live here, attend a school here, or be registered with a GP in the county. And finally, they must also be appearing that they're quite motivated to start making some small changes to their health and lifestyle. This will be sort of checked in the first phone call that Kerry has with the family. And if the family is sort of appearing that maybe they're not quite ready to engage in the programme, it will be that we can offer some one-to-one sessions with the family, or we may sort of agree with them some small targets for them to work on independently if they don't wish to access the programme. Or similarly to what we mentioned earlier, if there is a programme that would suit them better, we would onwardly refer them to that. You can see as well on the slide, there is another occasion where we would unfortunately not be able to work with the family if there are any unmanaged conditions as well. But again, we would be making sure that the support was there for them moving forward. So that's kind of who is eligible to receive the support. And then next up, we're going to have a look at what the aims are of the programme. So our main aim is that we want to make a difference to the lives of the children and families in Lincolnshire. We want to support them to be as healthy and as happy as possible through making some small, sustainable changes to their lifestyle. So as I mentioned, we're hoping to work with 300 children, and we would aim for half of those to be from areas that have the greatest need. As Andy showed on the graph, it's really important that we work with those people. So it may be areas of deprivation or areas where there's high levels of childhood obesity. So overall, the programme is going to hopefully be stabilising or reducing levels of childhood obesity. And this will be achieved through making changes to physical activity levels. So we'll be encouraging both the children and their parents or carers to increase their activity. So for children, aiming for those kind of 60 minutes of activity per day. Also changes to eating habits, so increasing fruit and vegetable consumption, reducing sort of unhealthy snacks, more water, less fizzy drinks, kind of the general healthy eating guidelines the children would be receiving at school and things as well. And then finally, also changes to kind of overall well-being, and that's both again for the child and the parent or carer. So as you can see, it's quite a holistic programme. We're not just focusing on the child's weight, it's about celebrating those other factors that contribute towards that, praising the child and making sure they're aware that all of those are extremely positive things to make changes to. So now we're going to move on and hand over to Chloe to look at finding out a bit more about what the programme actually involves.
Thank you, Helena. So our programme then, so Gloji Energy. Gloji Energy is a 12-week long programme. Each session is a group-based session where the child and parent or carer will attend. The sessions will usually run after school, but we are looking at starting some over the weekends to accommodate for a busy family routine. So once we've received the referral, like we've mentioned before, Kerry will take our phone call, our Healthy Family Support Officer, and she will contact the family, get to know more about the child and get them signed up for a suitable course. The 12 weeks will begin with a face-to-face session where the coach will meet one-to-one with their family. This gives them an opportunity to build a rapport with the child and get to know more about them. In the following 10 sessions, the 12 families, will join together in a group. The session will last for 60 minutes at a community venue around Lincolnshire. For the first 45 minutes of this session, the child will take part in a fun, energetic physical activity, such as trampolining, rock climbing, yoga, and much more. While the child is taking part in this activity, the parents will have a 45-minute discussion on a nutrition, movement, or other healthy habits. For the final 15 minutes, the children will rejoin their parents and share their learning and engage in a family activity. These activities include things such as small cold cooks, like yogurt bark and wrapped pizzas, as well as bus trucker trials and meal planning activities. So the final week, so week 12, is another face-to-face meeting where the coach will meet with the family and they'll discuss how the programme has gone and how they can keep their healthy habits sustainable moving forward. So alongside the programme, the children will also receive a Gloji Energy journal where they can track their progress and extend their healthy lifestyle knowledge with their booklet. And finally, it's important to point out that the services provided by Lincolnshire County Council, this programme will therefore be free for families. That is all from me. That was quite quick. I'll hand over to Kerry.
So hello there, everybody, again. Yes, having those conversations with parents. I would say to begin with that as part of our referral criteria, it's important for us to have the child and family consent. So if you're a professional making that referral, if you could get their consent, that would be wonderful. And that, of course, means that you will be having some of these conversations with children as well as parents and carers. If we're having those kind of conversations, well, we would usually ask some open questions to guide parents and make them feel safe to have that conversation. Open questions such as, tell me about, how would you describe your lifestyle, your child's lifestyle, that kind of thing. And we would try and keep it positive, non-judgmental, and use empathy, such as, I'm really glad you've told me this. I'm really glad we've had this discussion. I would keep it positive and focus on terms such as healthier lifestyle. So we wouldn't mention obesity at all because parents don't really like that term. We might mention some weight management, but of course, if we were talking to the child, we wouldn't go down that path at all. We would just be talking about healthy lifestyles and having fun. And also, it can be helpful to discuss the idea of the child being a healthier weight as they grow. So we recognise that many of you on the webinar will have extensive experience of working with families, and that you'll probably have those very close professional relationships, and you might feel very confident with broaching these sensitive or difficult subjects. But equally, child weight management in general is not something we tend to talk about a lot, and so it can be difficult to have those conversations, and that's why we've put together a few of these conversation starters for you today in case you want to use them. So we would say that if a parent or carer doesn't perceive that their child has excess weight, we would acknowledge those feelings. It's all right if the parent is willing to engage and is willing to talk about that healthy lifestyle, or feels that their child maybe does have some excess weight. But of course, sometimes parents don't feel like that. They might be in denial, or they might just not recognise it. So we would really just reflect back their feelings and say that we know it can be difficult to tell whether a child or young person is a healthy weight just by looking at them. But you can make those small changes to your lifestyle, and we can refer you to Gloji Energy. We would just keep it positive like that. Also, I would say that occasionally we might have parents who are upset or angry or don't want to engage in conversations. And again, we wouldn't push it, we wouldn't shy away from it either. We would probably again reflect back their feelings. For instance, we've got here, you don't feel that Sammy has a weight problem, and or you feel angry about the comments other children have made. And then just reiterate again, I'm here to support and help you. So if you do change your mind, we can always refer you. Just absolutely leave the door open to have that conversation in the future and say, okay, that's fine. You might not be a good time to discuss it now, but we can always talk about it in the future. I'm here to support, I'm here to help. And again, just affirm the parents' feelings. I know it's been hard for you to talk about this, but it shows you can also latch onto something very positive. It shows that you have had that conversation. It shows how important your child is to you, that kind of thing. So again, just keeping it positive and leaving the door open to have that conversation in the future. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
Okay, hello again. So how do you make a referral? So actually, it's really simple. So at the moment, you can make a referral using our One New Lincolnshire website. It's really easy to use. All you have to do is click the yellow button on the right-hand side that you can see on the top screen. If you click that yellow button, it will then give you a list of pathways, the different pathways that One New Lincolnshire can provide. And the one that you'll be looking for will be Eat Well, Lose Weight for Children, Gloji Energy. Once you've clicked on that, it will then take you to another form that's specifically for Gloji Energy, just for the children. So this referral form can be used by health professionals, by schools, and by families. Questions 1 to 3 are to establish the eligibility. The following questions are about the children, so we have a better understanding of the child and how we can help them moving forward. And the last few questions are about the family, so we're able to get in touch and have those conversations. The Gloji Energy form itself is about 6 minutes long, doesn't take very long. Question 7, just to say what Kerry has already said, that question 7 is about consent, and it does ask that if you are a health professional or a school teacher, that you do have the family's consent to make the referral. Once again, once the referral has been made, Kerry will then contact you within 5 working days and will discuss the next steps. So at the moment, it's really easy and simple. It's just using the One New Lincolnshire webpage. However, we are in the developing stages of the NHS System 1 for clinical use, and hopefully that will be available to you soon as well. I think that's everything.
Brilliant. So I will talk about our up and coming courses. We've got lots of exciting courses, programs coming up really soon, actually. We've got our trampolining and jumping in Lincoln starting in September. We've got rock climbing in Lincoln as well, the beginning of October, and lots of other programs around Lincolnshire happening. They're up on the list there in front of you. We are looking to expand our activity range to include eco work and water activities, and we hope to be able to hold some of these programmes outside in the summer months. Locations are early days in the planning, and we are looking to expand our service across Lincolnshire. Some areas are not yet covered, but once we gauge where interest is, we'll be able to reach out to those areas. I think that's it. I'd like to move on. Thank you.
So there's been a loads of questions in the chat. It's been very, very busy. I'm going to try my very best to summarise some of those questions. So the form, as Christine says, is on our website at the moment. It's linked to the whole of the One New Lincolnshire offer, so you just select the one that's appropriate for you. That form, the way that form works regarding confidential information is we are asking you as a professional working with a family to have spoken to that family first, so they know that you're making a referral on their behalf, and they know that you're sharing their information on that form. So we use this system for the current One New Lincolnshire offer as well. So it is secure, but like I say, we do need to be sure that people have consented to that. And there are specific questions regarding consent. We did have a question regarding some tier 3 provision for children and young people. But Andy popped something in the chat that said that that's not currently a commissioned service in Lincolnshire. However, it looks as if there is a referral route for children with a BMI greater than 97.6 with a comorbidity that relates to their weight, and they can indeed be referred to a regional clinic. And that happens through secondary care paediatrics at Boston and Lincoln, so ULHT will handle that. We've had lots of fantastic questions regarding delivery down the south of Lincolnshire. So Spalding, Stamford, Market Deeping, Bourne. And as I've put in the chat, I know we share those locations. We're a pilot programme. We're just in the launching phase. We're absolutely very committed to coming to all of those towns. But what we'd very much asked is that we can come and have a meeting with people that work in those localities so that we can really understand what cohorts of families you think you might have interested, and we will come and deliver when we have availability in that area. So absolutely. If you reach out to us this afternoon, Christian will send an email, and that email will allow you to book a conversation with her, and we can explore that in much more detail and make those appropriate plans. So yes, Lincolnshire is big, and we are very committed to making sure we go everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, what have I missed? Oh, here we go. So there's a great question here from Jacqueline about transport costs. I'm going to share this with the wider team, because I think we're anticipating being able to provide provision very close to where people live, so that hopefully that won't be too much of a problem. Helena, Chloe, would that be a fair initial answer to that? And we can obviously get back to you in more detail, Jacqueline.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you there, Alison. Where possible, we're trying to, look at transport routes to try to make sure that, public transport may be available. Yeah, on the whole, we're trying as much as we can to make it as accessible for as many people as possible. There may be the opportunity to run some activities in some schools if that was kind of a key area that people were all kind of struggling in, that we could look to make it a little bit more inclusive by hopefully being a little bit more on the doorstep. But equally, we understand that takes away from the whole, jumping, rock climbing. It might sort of change the activity that we can offer, but we hope that it would still be, something like dodgeball, quite enjoyable for the children. But yeah, I appreciate that is something that we really are considering at the moment.
Thank you. Had question here about parents being able to self-refer. Yes, absolutely. Parents can self-refer. They do the exact same process that Christine shared with you, and we really do appreciate that. That specifically for Gloji Energy, but for lots of kind of lifestyle support, it's about being offered the right referral route at the right time. So it may be that your conversation with a family isn't the exact right time to make a referral, but actually a leaflet and some information, which we can provide. Again, please do reply to Christine's email and we can sort that. And then a family can refer themselves, and that's the right thing for them to do. Skegness, Kerry, great question. Just looking back, and we absolutely are in the process at this moment of exploring delivery in Skegness. So yes, don't let that hold you off making any referrals. Plans are afoot. One New Lincolnshire team, have I missed any other questions or queries from people? Can anybody see? And I suppose last chance for anybody to pop anything else.
I think I saw one earlier, just popped through around when are the sessions going to be, and then I think someone also there's maybe just added one. So yeah, the sessions will all be after school, so there'll be no kind of expectation that families, children, etc. are taken out of school time. So depending on what time the school in that area finishes, it could be sort of 3:30 to 4:30. It could be 4 till 5, 5 till 6. Different kind of time slots around that. And obviously, with it being from 4 years of age, we would like to try to accommodate, kind of the earlier times for the younger children and things like that. In terms of term time, it's kind of on the whole, we're trying to see what happens with it being a pilot. We hope to run kind of during the half-term holidays, sort of over Christmas, probably taking a week there where we don't run it. But we're open to kind of see what the families sort of request around that. Some may have plans and be going out and about and doing things during half term, whereas others, potentially would really benefit from having that structure during that time. So open to kind of see how it happens. And then again, just talking about the pilot there, I think one came up around the length. So it is 2 years. It started sort of July time this year. So we've been kind of getting up and running and things over the last month or so. And that will run until, what will it be, 2024 by then? Getting carried away there. So yeah. And then was there one more about siblings?
There is indeed a great question regarding if somebody has siblings, younger or older, can they take part as a family approach?
Yeah, absolutely. That is something which we want to encourage. We know that when the whole family's making changes, it's more likely to be sustainable rather than sort of one individual being the only person making changes. It really, that social support is key. So yeah, the siblings are more than welcome to attend with the child that's sort of eligible, if that makes sense.
And there is one more question saying, is anything provided or going to be provided for children underweight? So for me right now, I don't know of any provision for children that are underweight. So I don't know if Helena, you know of any provision for children who are underweight.
I think the main would be if a child is struggling with an eating disorder, that CAMS would potentially be a suitable service for that. Andy, I don't know if you've got anything to add on that one.
Yeah, certainly it's a concern. Obviously, there are services that you can refer to and that will be suitable for children with an eating disorder or with underweight. Obviously, we are all concerned about the effects of extreme poverty coming up. What I would say is that at present, based on the current information and prevalence we have, unhealthy weight in terms of overweight is far the greater problem, which isn't to downplay the significance of children who are significantly underweight. But this service is very much aimed not at the underweight cohort, which is much smaller. It is aimed at those children who are and those families who are struggling with their having too much weight.
Thank you. We're just been asked a question regarding outcome data and how we're going to track progress for children and families, and subsequently what if it becomes apparent that a family might need more than 12 weeks support.
Okay, in terms of the outcome data, so I suppose it links to what our overall aims are. So we will be collecting the child's height and weight a couple of timeframes within the programme. So we'll be able to kind of track their BMI, centiles and Z scores. We will also be sort of looking at fruit and vegetable intake and some of those other dietary eating habit kind of areas as well. Physical activity, well-being, they're all kind of the main kind of sort of indicators that we're going to be looking at to report back to our commissioners. But like I said, in terms of with the child and sort of talking to them about how they're progressing, it will be much more of those, you've made a change, well done, that's amazing, that's great, that's good. We've got different kind of emojis that link to feeding back to them so that it's all really positive, and any change is kind of a step in the right direction sort of thing. In terms of the question around needing support for longer than 12 weeks, we do have a follow-up kind of system in place. So once the children and the family have finished after 12 weeks, we will be looking to catch up with them again sort of after 26 weeks and 52 weeks. So we really want to make sure it's sustainable and not just a quick fix or something like that. So there will be support in place for them moving forward, and sort of Facebook pages and support groups outside of kind of the sessions as well to give them that extra, help really.
Thank you. I hope we've captured all the questions and queries. I think we have. Thank you so much all for your time today. On that last slide is how to get in touch with us. So our general email address, but as we said earlier, to make referrals, please just use our website. When you've had that conversation with the family, please use the website. Christine will be sending everybody who's registered today an email, and in that email you'll find all the slides, a video. There'll be an opportunity to book a follow-up conversation with Christine, because I know a few of you have had questions. And later on next week we will send a recording of the webinar. Please do share the webinar with your colleagues if you feel that's appropriate. We're not precious. We really are very excited to get Gloji Energy running in Lincolnshire, and we're really also excited about talking to some of you about different locations for us to establish groups. So thank you very much. A few will hang around on this link just in case anyone's got any other questions, but rest assured we have your details and we will get in touch with you later on today. Thank you all so much.
That was an interesting question, Helena. Did you see that? Where did the name come from? Do you know where the name came from?
Yeah, so Gloji, I don't know if the individual's still here, but I'll say it anyway. Gloji is kind of our sort of healthy lifestyle weight management kind of brand across the company that we work for. And the word Gloji has come from goji berries and glow, as in someone's glowing. So it's a combination of kind of those two words as to where Gloji is from. And then energy was a name that was previously used for a weight management program that our company have used in the past, and that was called energy. I suppose it's to do with children being enthusiastic and having lots of energy available to do activity, and also fueling their body with kind of the correct energy to be healthy and happy. So that's kind of where the name's from.
We've still got about 16 people in the meeting, so shall we end this meeting and then catch up?
Sounds great. Thanks, everyone.
Sounds great. Thank
you.
you.
Goodbye now.
Bye.
Bye bye.